Hello, I am the Antifish and welcome to my YouTube channel, where I'll be documenting the development of my 3D Kanto Pokemon game made in the Unity engine with a voxel art style. This is my first big project as a single game developer, but with the help of the Unity engine and some AI writing assistance, I'm bringing my dream Pokemon game to life. In this series, I'll be sharing my progress, struggles, and triumphs as I work on this project. One of the things that inspired me to work on this project is another YouTuber, Cody Carnitas, and his work on remaking older 2D pixelated titles into 3D in a voxel art style. A link to his channel will be in the description, and special thanks to him for inspiring me to start this project. In this video, I will be showcasing some of the new features I'm adding to the game. You'll have to wait until later in the video to see them, but rest assured, they are worth the wait. This video in this series will provide an overview of these features and more. Without further ado, let's dive in. When embarking on a project like creating a new Pokemon game, the first place to start is with the Pokemon themselves. The original Kanto Pokemon are iconic and beloved characters, but it is undeniable that some of their designs could be improved upon. Therefore, the first step in this project is to carefully consider which Pokemon to include in the game, and which to cut. While it is unfortunate, I am willing to make the sacrifice of cutting certain Pokemon from the roster. My decisions on which Pokemon to remove will be based on personal preference, but in order to make the process fair, I have established a set of equally personal criteria that I will follow in determining which Pokemon should be kept and which should be removed. Repeat Pokemon refers to two or more Pokemon that can be described or referred to in a similar way, such as early route weak regular looking bird. In cases like these, I must decide which Pokemon to keep and which to exclude, taking into consideration their significance and popularity. In this instance, popular Twitch stream Twitch Chat Plays Pokemon is widely known, and one of the Pokemon on the team was a Pidgeot named Bird Jesus. So unfortunately, Spearow is the one that must be disposed of. A Pokemon's design is vital, as it can influence the way it is perceived and used in the game by players. Deciding which Pokemon to get rid of based on their design is a complex topic, so I divided it into two main categories: Pokemon with unsettling or humanoid appearances, and Pokemon with uninspired designs. While Voltorb is often included in the latter category, its ability to pretend to be a Pokeball and surprise trainers gives it a unique and cool aspect, so it gets to stay. Now that we have addressed some of the negative aspects of Pokemon design, it is time to focus on the positive and explore some of the new and, hopefully, better designed Pokemon. Since the release of the first generation on the Game Boy, 8 more generations of Pokemon have been added to the series, each one often introducing new evolutions for existing Pokemon, which will be added to my game. In addition to these new evolutions, regional variants of Kanto Pokemon have also been introduced in later generations. In these cases, I'll either use the variant directly, combine it with the original, or discard it entirely. After finishing with these updates, I'll be adding some Pokemon that I think should exist, many of which are new Eeveelutions. However, I cannot claim credit for the designs of these Pokemon, which are more unique and perfect than I could ever hope to design. So I will ensure to give proper credit to the creators in the description. Another Pokemon that technically already exists that I will be adding is Gorachu, the second evolution of Pikachu. In my game, Gorachu will be an electric fighting type. With all that said and done, I think it's time to move on to the next topic. There's a lot to consider when discussing Pokemon types, including the types of each individual Pokemon, the types they should and should not be, and the type chart itself. However, before delving into these topics, it is important to understand the purpose and goals behind me changing each Pokemon's typing. One of my primary goals for the final evolution Pokemon is to ensure that each one has a unique typing. This helps to make each Pokemon feel special and distinct, rather than having multiple Pokemon with the same type in a single generation. To illustrate this point, let's consider the example of the ground rock types introduced in the first generation. After careful consideration, I have decided that the Pokémon to keep the rock ground typing should be Sandflash, due to its ability to dig underground and its rocky appearance. For the other Pokémon in this group, Onix can simply be a mono rock type, as it gains the steel typing on evolution. Geodude should be a fighting type due to its fist-like appendages, and Rhyhorn can be a steel type due to its armored appearance. By giving each Pokémon a distinct typing, we can enhance the uniqueness and individuality of each one. Additionally, I wish to have each type be widely and evenly distributed throughout the game, bringing me to my next point, type spread. The original Kanto games have an imbalanced distribution of Pokémon types, with 16 fully evolved water types, enough to take up 13% of Pokémon, and only one single fully evolved Ghost and Dragon type. In order to create a more balanced decks, I will aim for each type to have at least 6 Pokémon, enough for a full team. As an example, let's consider the Dragon type and look at the teams of Lance, the Dragon type Elite Four member. In both Generation 1 and 3, his team consists of 3 Pokémon from the Dratini evolutionary line, as well as flying types Gyarados and Aerodactyl. In other games, he also uses a Charizard, so I will include it here as well. From here, it is easy to create a full, unique Dragon-type team by replacing the Pokémon Flying type with the Dragon type, as well as adding a Kingdra and filling in the remaining slot with a Draco. This results in a complete Dragon-type team with a unique, fully evolved Pokémon. However, a Pokémon's type is useless if you do not define how each type interacts with all the others, which brings me to the Pokémon type chart plays a critical role in the Pokémon games as it determines the strengths and weaknesses of each Pokémon type, which influences the effectiveness of attacks and abilities in battles against other Pokémon. However, I plan to make some changes to the type chart in order to improve the viability of certain types, specifically the Bug and Ice types. To quote former Pokémon World Champion Wolfie Glick, the Bug and Ice types kinda suck, so I will be implementing his suggestions to improve them. For the Bug type, I will make it both resistant and super effective against the Fairy type, as it should have been in the first place. And for the Ice type, I will add a resistance to water. While these changes may help, they may not be enough to significantly increase the viability of these types. Therefore, I will also be introducing a new type to balance out the rest of the types in the game. I have decided to include a sound type in my game because sound-based moves already exist in the Pokémon franchise and have unique properties, such as having the ability to hit through a substitute. Balancing the type chart with this new type is relatively straightforward. From a defensive standpoint, the sound type should be weak to Ice, Poison, and Bug, but resistant to Steel and Fairy. Offensively, it should be super effective against Water, Psychic, Steel, and Fairy, not very effective against Grass and Ice, and completely ineffective against Bug Pokémon, since most bugs lack hearing organs. To determine which Pokémon should be classified as sound type, I will consider factors such as whether sound is mentioned in their Pokédex entries, if they have a sound-related name, or if it simply feels appropriate. As a result, the fully evolved sound-type Pokémon will include Snorlax, Victreebel, Porygon Z, Lapras, Crobat, Persian, Wigglytuff, and Cynthion. I am excited to see how this diverse group of Pokémon will fare in battles. In this section, I will be discussing various changes that will be made to the game. These changes do not have a specific theme or focus, but rather are a collection of improvements and updates. First, I will be allowing players to switch their Pokémon's moves whenever they want, like the game's Scarlet and Violet. Additionally, I will allow players to teach TM moves to any Pokémon of that same type, which will help prevent some of the frustration when attempting situations like a Magikarp only run. Another change I will be making is regarding HM moves. In the original games, players had to teach HM moves to their Pokémon in order to use them, which took up a move slot with a usually unappealing move. In future games, this was addressed using right Pokémon, but I would like to take a different approach. Instead, we will base the use of HM moves on the types of the Pokémon currently in the party. For example, Bug and grass types will be able to remove bushes, normal and fighting types can move boulders, and water and ice types can travel across the sea. Other changes I will make include removing the ability to drop accuracy or raise evasion, the ability to evolve Pokemon from the party screen, and eliminating the fade in and out of menus to allow for faster navigation. Thank you for watching this video outlining my plan for developing a 3D Kanto Pokemon game in the Unity engine with the Voxel art style. I hope you have enjoyed hearing about the new features and changes I am planning for the game. Have any feedback or thoughts on these ideas, please don't hesitate to leave a comment below. If you want to stay up to date on the latest developments and be notified when the next video in the series is released, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you in the next video.